You know, I've played a fair few of RPGs, but there are just certain RPGs I just can't get into, or I'm just not very good with the type of battle system. Disgaea is a game that I'm going to be looking into today, and the battle system I'm just not very good at. And these type of battle systems are kind of what shy me away from certain games. I'm just not very good with those type of things. You give me a turn-based RPG, and although some people will say it's very typical or boring, it just works for me. I can also do like action battle systems such as Dragon Age Origins. I guess Final Fantasy XII was kind of like an action based system, really, in a way, but Disgaea is more like, I suppose, XCOM, or if we want to be more recent, I think there was that Mario Rabbids crossover XCOM type game. I can't remember the name specifically, so if I have to, I will edit it in. I don't want to make a mistake too much there, so I'll just say it's the Mario Rabbids XCOM game. Disgaea's system is like that, and so while I'm trying this out, since it was on PC on Steam, both 1 and 2, but I was requested to look at the whole series, so I'm going to be doing something a bit different today. And if you need clarification, I'll also put like a total card on the right or the left to look out on the update, because this will also explain how I'm going to do things from now on as well. So if you haven't checked that out, I'd recommend checking it out and then come back here. But moving on, guys, Disgaea is the game I'm going to cover today, so let's move on, shall we? Welcome everyone, this is Reasons to Play or to Not Play. My name is Jay, and basically I try to persuade you to play a game or to not play a game by coming up with as many reasons as possible. So today, like I mentioned, Disgaea. This was requested or asked if I could possibly look it out, and it was on Steam. I had a look, I thought, okay, the first 2 games are on Steam, I will have a look at them. But how I'm going to do things today, long story short, for those of you who haven't watched the update, I'm going to be covering the first game right now. These games are RPGs, they're very long, and I don't even know how many chapters are in the first Disgaea game, at least at this point in time of what I've been playing. But I've played quite a bit to kind of get an understanding of what this type of game is. Now, this is going to be a Reasons to Play. Now, I've kind of got mixed opinions on this, but since I was asked specifically if they would do a Reasons to Play, I'm only going to give you my positive reasons. And with that said, guys, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why, if you haven't already, possibly give Disgaea a try, because it's actually not too expensive on Steam as well. So if you can run it, you can play it. It's not really like a very intensive game on like your specs or anything. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should give it a try. Let's get started.
You start off as playing Lahal, the Demon Prince of the Netherworld. I've read that the Disgaea games all take place in the Netherworld, so already to me that's kinda unique. The prince wakes up after a 2-year slumber? Damn, I would never need to sleep again. Maybe. He finds out by one of his vassals, Etna, that his father, the king, has passed. And which means people have been trying to get the throne and have completely forgotten, and honestly no one cares or takes the prince seriously, that Lahal is next in line as heir to being the overlord of the Netherworld. And so he journeys off to take on any foe in his way to become the next overlord. Though the story takes its turns, meeting an angel set to kill his father from Celestia, the home of angels. She really likes love, who ends up sticking around and joining your team. Prince comes off as this arrogant, spoilt kid that gets whatever he wants. But as you progress and he interacts with other characters, his personality changes slightly, becoming nicer and less evil, I suppose, showing character development. You learn that, despite being demons, they seem to have a very humorous personality and aren't as bad, kinda? At first, the prince's allies don't respect him much at all, but over time they start to believe in him a bit more, being like his father, the late king. The story so far is very humorous and comes across as light-hearted, which I like to see sometimes, though it does have its serious moments. Sort of. It tries to be. Anyway.
You see this? This is the famous doppelganger spell! How do you like it? They're 10 overlords now! You're speechless, aren't you?
That's not the word I would use. At first, I wasn't big on the dialogue and personality for the characters, but I warmed up to them as I progressed through the story. Everyone makes fun of the prince. Edna comes off as, I guess, a typical demon. It's not subtle about wanting to take over the throne. The prince is right there, and, well, she has a temper. Well, at the same time, she actually has a secret, which you find out she might not be as bad as you might seem, and has huge respect for the late king. The angel the prince meets, Flan, comes off as a stereotypical airhead who's obsessed with love. Like, seriously. Even when she gets insulted, she tries to believe that she can find some sort of love happiness to get through it. As Edna puts it in the game,
No, I think that's the way she is.
this game loves to make references and not even being subtle about it. Crimson Rangers. Really? I guess Goku Crimson Rangers could kinda work, though there's only 3 members. Question is though, what would their Megazord look like? Died by a pretzel. Tragic. Hey, I'd believe it, though not sure I will eat them again now. This game is full of references, jokes, and humorous dialogue, and I enjoyed it. It gave me a good laugh, and I appreciate it for that.
Etna,
Yes?
kill him!
Certainly.
Let's talk about the gameplay. This is a tactical role-playing game, but I'll get more into the battle system later. Your main hub world is the Overlord's castle in the Netherworld, basically the main character's father, and there is a few things you can do here. You can talk to the residents, your vassals, for some dialogue, and it does change each time you pass a chapter in the story, though they normally just make a joke about the prince, honestly. You can buy items, weapons and armory in the castle, and naturally you start off with basic weapons and items. Use hell points as money to buy items. I think that's the first time I've ever heard that as a term for money in a video game. But guess that makes sense, being in the Netherworld and all. Then there's the Dark Assembly. This is where you can create allies by using mana you get by defeating monsters. Basically equals the level of monsters killed, and you need it to create allies, but since you get it naturally, it's not much of a problem. You can choose from a variety of classes, and if you level up those certain classes, you can unlock even more. And that's just the beginning. There's a lot to do in the Dark Assembly, but let's move on to the hospital. Simple enough, you can come here to heal up, or this is where you get your party revived. When you want to proceed with your next destination, or to revisit a destination, you speak to the gatekeeper. Quite a bit, to do in the hub world, but it expands even more, which we'll talk about soon. Alright, so now let's properly get into the battle system, shall we? As I mentioned, this game is a tactical role-playing game, which I heard is similar to like Final Fantasy Tactics, though I'm not sure myself since I have not played that game either. So you place your character on the map, sort of like chess. You have your pieces and they can only move a certain distance and direction. You have to position your characters correctly to take out the opponents and not get ambushed or taken out yourself. To make a more recent comparison, it's sort of like that Mario Rabbids Kingdom battle game on Nintendo Switch. Each character have different skills depending on their weapon of choice. Their range can vary, and that includes for their skills they get for that weapon. Though spell ranges can increase the more you use it, I don't think that's the same for combat skills though. If you are facing towards your opponent when they attack, you take less damage. If they are behind you, you take more damage. Same goes for if you're attacking an enemy. Want to get behind an opponent quicker, or just move further up the map without waiting? Well, if your allies are next to each other, you can actually lift them up and throw them a certain distance. And also throwing range also varies on each character. Though what I didn't immediately know is that all these guys must have great upper body strength and can lift several of your party members at once. This looks like some sort of circus act. I mean, this is ridiculous but hilarious at the same time. Each of the enemies and your allies in addition have weaknesses and strengths, so you can use that to your advantage. Another thing that can happen, if you put your allies next to each other or behind, they have a chance to do a team attack if you choose to do a regular attack. Not gonna lie, every time I see this, especially the fact that you can include up to 4 in one combo, is really cool. But do you know what the best thing is? If you do a team attack with one person, because you only need one person to actually initiate it, and then you just stand your allies next to them, or like behind as well, you can still use the other members on your team to attack, if they were in range of the enemy, of course. Another cool thing on top of that is that if you move accidentally, like say move forward too far, as long as you haven't made an attack, you can just cancel it and try again. And if you move your character back to the base that they actually come out of at the start of the battle, you can take them out again and move them again. I just love the different strategies you can do. I mean, this is a tactical role-playing game, and clearly with what you can do here, it's obvious. Not only that, some stages will have terrain effects. They are called geopanels, created from geo symbols, the pyramid-like thing. They call them like crystal-looking things, but I honestly just think they look like pyramids, honestly, and they are placed on the map. If a character or enemy is on the colored panel, it will have different effects. Some may boost your allies, while others will boost enemies, or even warp you somewhere random the next turn. This changes everything, as you need to be aware of who's on what panel and what effects they might be getting, or you could just straight up destroy them. They do have HP, so they may take a couple of hits. Another thing you can do is throw them somewhere else, since you can also pick the geo symbols up. However, if you destroy a geo symbol or another geo panel other than its own, it actually converts that panel to the one you destroyed. But not only that, anyone on this panel will take some damage. This can boost your bonus gauge, which basically is like your HL winnings. The bigger it is, you'll get more HL points, but also items and weapons too. So if you manage to set off a chain of destroyed geo panels, you can really rack up the points. This is easier to do in the item world. At the beginning you start off basic, but there is a lot more customization that you can do. As your characters level up, in certain classes levels, it opens up even more classes, as I mentioned before, such as scouts, archers, stronger warriors, brawlers and more. You can even create different monsters as well. Not only that, did you know you can pass on moves to others? Well, you simply choose a character you want to learn a move, and then you create a class. They become that character's pupil, and if you sit them beside you in battle, you can use their move after a few uses and then learn it permanently. Why do you learn from your student and not the other way around? Beats me. Makes as much sense as an anime does. In addition to this, in the Dark Assembly, your characters can take a promotion exam. This is to prove your worth. It gives you more opportunities to unlock things such as expensive items, transmigration, basically reincarnation. You get stronger base stats, making shoes and other accessories available in the shop. However, before you do that, it has to be voted by the senators. You can also bribe them with items, which I kind of find funny. If you get more yays to nays, the net feature gets unlocked. It's an interesting feature that I've not seen before. You can also force yourself way through anyway to get the feature. But I've seen those levels and no, I'm not even gonna try. I want to talk briefly again about the hospital. Apart from healing and resurrecting, you can get rewards. The more HP and SP you heal, you get special rewards such as items that boost stats. I really like this idea. I have not played a game where I get rewarded just for healing. Back to the shop again. When buying items such as weapons, they have added skills to them. One of them is the Arms Master skill. This increases your rate of learning skills faster. So if you want to learn, say, sword skills much faster, then what you want to do is find a weapon with Arms Master on it. There are all sorts of different skills, so if they don't have what you want, just leave and come back to the shop as it changes each time. Now let me explain the item world in more detail. In here, you can increase an item's effect, like making a weapon stronger by going into that item. In the items world, you fight various enemies, there's lots of geo symbols with different effects, making it a great place to rack up HL points. And there are several floors to progress through. The further you go, the more levels your item will get. If you make it to at least floor 10 and beat all enemies, then the item world ends and your item levels up to 10 levels. You can also skip fighting most of the enemies by moving on an exit portal. Again, never heard of this in a game before, and I find it very interesting. The harder the item will be, the better the item is, so watch out for that because it can get very difficult. But I do really like this idea. It's a good way to strengthen your weaker weapons if you cannot afford more expensive ones. Each character has different weapon ranks, some better than others, so naturally you would choose the weapon they are strongest in for faster growth. The amount of customization that's put into this game is pretty large, and I really like that. There's just so much you can do, and the levels you can reach go way beyond standard RPGs level 99, that's for sure. Before we end though, I do just want to put an honorary mention to the music. I felt like there wasn't too much to say here, so I didn't want to include it officially, but I'm going to mention it as a little bonus reason. So I don't have too much to say about the music, and I wasn't really sure whether to include it as a simple reason, because I don't have much to say, but I figured I should anyway. It's definitely great to listen to though, it's got some great battle themes, though at the same time hilarious when inappropriate music is being played on more than one occasion. When this game tries to come off as serious, it's then thrown out the window with a jolly old track. Other than that though, I think it's fine. There's some epic sounding music for some battles which sets the mood really well. It's time to kick ass, motherfucker!
And that's it. So that's my 5 reasons and a little bit of bonus to play the Disgaea series. Can I just say, for someone who's never played the game before, it was the first time I played the game, I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed it, and I think honestly when I get to Disgaea 2, I will enjoy it as well. I had lots of fun. The battle system's pretty deep, there's a lot of stuff you can do, the customization is pretty crazy and the levels are pretty crazy you can get, and I just like the fact that you don't even have to be too higher levels. If you know what you're doing, you can get stronger weapons and stronger items to boost your stats higher, and you can take out enemies stronger than you. This game's got a lot going for, so if you are an RPG fan, I definitely check this out if you can. Like I said, on Steam, I managed to get it on offer if you buy both the games. I've got like a PC bundle, so if you can run it on your computer, which I doubt it's a very intensive game, too intensive game. I mean, it's an old PS2 game, I believe the first one is. I'm not sure about the second, it's probably the same thing, so it's not too intensive, I don't reckon. So if you can pick it up on Steam, I'd recommend doing that. You also get like a bonus character with that as well, which I didn't really mention because it's very small. It's just basically like a gunner, but you can also make a gunner as well. But yeah, that's like a thing, I guess, just for the PC version. I'm not sure about the other versions, but yeah, no, I was pleasantly surprised. And all I could say, I hope you enjoyed this Reasons to Play, but if you didn't, you don't agree with me, you know what to do. Hashtag not convinced. Like that comment. The higher the likes, the more likely I have no choice but to come up with 5 reasons not to play Disgaea. And once again, just let you guys know, I will be eventually be covering Disgaea 2, but if this video does well, I'll probably work on Disgaea 2 a lot quicker, and if it does do well, I will do the other games in the series. But for now, I'm going to take a break from Disgaea because there's a game that I'm kind of overdue because it's been out for a little while, and I mean, I'm a Sonic fan. Yeah, it's time to look at Sonic Forces, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, my fellow gamers. Take care.